I got a new support on Patreon, Lance, and he had this curious question for me. I noticed in your review of The Disaster Artist, you said you didn't see Tommy Wiseau as a prominent director. That surprised me considering you say that no one wants to make a bad movie. What about people like Todd Solondz who make just plain offensive movies, or Adam Sandler, or even Tommy? In regards to the first comment, no, Tommy Wiseau has not really proven himself to be a prominent director, as he's primarily been coasting off the cult success of The Room and hasn't done much of anything else. But I don't think he made The Room with the intention of it being a bad movie. I just think he had a general misunderstanding of the rules of filmmaking, which resulted in a shaky final product. If you read Greg Sestero's account on the making of The Room, Wiseau did genuinely believe he was making something of substance and meaning. Now, as for the main question about whether filmmakers known for making offensive movies are trying to do good work, I think they certainly are. You will also have directors who make films that are attempting to be shocking for the sake of it and feeling there's an audience who will enjoy it, or maybe generate some controversy on the side. A notable example is Ruggero Deodato, director of the infamous horror movie Cannibal Holocaust. With that film, he wanted to make a commentary on civilization and also sought to present a film with a documentary aspect, which would later influence the found footage subgenre. To add to the realism of the project, he actually had the actors disappear to make it seem like they'd really been murdered in the Amazon. This shocking imagery immediately gave the film an infamousy, and then the courts in Italy actually thought he'd killed the actors, which is kind of stupid if you think about it. Why would a director kill his actors on camera and then release the film commercially around the world? He was cleared when the actors turned up, but my question is why that was the thing they focused on, and not that they killed animals on camera. The material with the actors was clearly special effects and makeup, but nope, that was a real monkey, a real turtle, and other animals being brutally killed in the film. Why? For the purposes of entertainment? Why is that not the thing he was arrested for? There's a whole subgenre of exploitative films that relied on infamy for their offensive and shocking content to grab eyeballs, many of which were banned in the United Kingdom for a number of years as video nasties. But even those grindhouse pictures serve an artistic purpose and come from the filmmakers wanting to entertain an audience and present some ideas. I Spit It On Your Grave is one such example, a film that Roger Ebert infamously hated for its endless depiction of sexual assault. And having seen the film, I agree with Ebert that it was a cheap, dirty, gratuitous, exploitative piece of schlock. And yet the director made the film with the intention of highlighting sexual assault, an attempt to create a feminist revenge picture. If you can stomach it, you should watch the film and form your own opinion about whether you think the director succeeded in his goal. As for somebody like Adam Sandler, while his comedies do tend to rely on shock humor at times, with an occasional focus on stereotypes, I think a lot of his offensive jokes tend to just be misguided and juvenile. I wish his comedies matured more, though, and progressed with the times. Even as recently as The Do-Over and The Ridiculous Six, the jokes were outdated and felt like they were written in 1993. Lance mentioned Todd Solondz, a filmmaker whose main focus seems to be on making films that seek to deconstruct the darker side of humanity. Whether you like those sorts of films or not, there is a place for them, and they can be used to explore difficult and uncomfortable topics. Now, can directors known for offensive films move out of their comfort zone? Certainly. John Waters made a name for himself with midnight movies like Pink Flamingos that reveled in shocking the audience with disgusting imagery and apparently appealed to chipmunks for some reason.
Don't judge me. I saw Pink Flamingos.
But he then directed Hairspray, a movie aimed at a family audience, and which eventually spawned a beloved Broadway musical and then a film adaptation of said musical. Peter Jackson is best known for his special effects epics like the Lord of the Rings trilogy and dramas like Heavenly Creatures. But one of his early efforts? A dirty puppet movie called Meet the Feebles. Overall, there will always be films that attempt to shock and offend, but it does not mean those filmmakers aren't also trying to make good films. I hope I answered your question as best as I could, Lance.